creepypastas have always had an interesting rap, as the quality of each story is so hit or miss that you truly have no idea what you are getting with the stories. Some of them are extremely good, like Godzilla NES, but some others are truly terrible and don't make any sense whatsoever, such as Jeff the Killer. But the influence some of these stories had was truly insane, with some of the creepypastas becoming so widely known that you literally could not go anywhere without hearing about them. One of the biggest examples of this has got to be the creepypasta that changed the landscape of the game it was based on. That of course being Herobrine. Before getting into this story, make sure that if you haven't already to hit that subscribe button. It helps me a lot, and now let's continue. I had recently spawned a new world in single player Minecraft. Everything was normal at first as I began chopping down trees and crafting a workbench. I noticed something move amongst the dense fog. I have a slow computer, so I have to play with a tiny render distance. I thought it was a cow, so I pursued it, hoping to grab some hides for armor. And let me just say, this startup is super simple. As anyone who played early Minecraft can remember, there was something just so unsettling and off-putting about the atmosphere in the original versions of the game. And early Minecraft was just different than it is now, because if you turned down the render distance, the fog would come in, and that would make the atmosphere much more unsettling in the original versions of Minecraft. And there just is a level of emptiness in early Minecraft that isn't really there anymore, as all the mobs that are in the game now weren't there, and it just left the game feeling empty and completely devoid of life, like you were completely and totally alone. And I think this story so far is doing a really good job playing into that. It wasn't a cow though. Looking back at me was another character with the default skin, but his eyes were empty. I saw no name pop up and I double checked to make sure I wasn't in multiplayer mode. He didn't stay for long. He just looked at me and quickly ran into the fog. I pursued him out of curiosity, but he was already gone. I continued on with the game, not sure what to think as I expanded the world. I saw things that seemed out of place for the random map generator to make. 2x2 tunnels in the rocks, small, perfect pyramids made out of sand in the ocean, and groves of trees with all their leaves cut off. I would constantly think I saw the other player in the deep fog, but I never got a better look at him. I tried increasing my render distance whenever I thought I saw him, but to no avail. And this part is also well done, as once again, one of the things that comes with the way that Minecraft is generated, some strange things do happen within the world. So a lot of these things could honestly be explained by world generations, and things like 2x2 tunnels were actually extremely common within the beta versions of Minecraft and still are to this day. This lends the story some credibility, as it makes the reader start to question whether things that they find within the world is actually random or if something else is causing these strange things. And what I really think the story does well here is set up the atmosphere of being watched. We know that there's this other character within the game, and it's just like watching the main protagonist, and it's not really interacting with them, but it's just watching them. That creates this like super unsettling atmosphere, as we don't know what this thing is, but it's watching them, and it could strike at any moment, but it's just watching them. It's not doing anything super scary, it's just being weird and creepy. But I think honestly, I think that's what makes this first half so unsettling, because we don't know what this thing is, and it's just watching our protagonists and not really interacting with them. It doesn't make the Herobrine seem evil or ominous, it just makes him seem weird, which I think really helps the story, because it's not trying to be overtly scary, it's just trying to get a little bit of a creep out of you. And I think the idea of Herobrine just being a ghost within the game works really well, and the way it's set up adds an air of mystery of what it could possibly be. I saved the map and went on the forums to see if anyone else had found the pseudo player. There were none. I created my own topic telling of the man and asked if anyone had a similar experience. The post was deleted within 5 minutes. I tried again and the topic was deleted even faster. I received a PM from a username Herobrine containing one word: stop. When I went to look at Herobrine's profile, the page 404'd. And this is where I think the story starts to lose a lot of the steam that it had at the beginning, as we officially left the realm of weird things that are possible within the Minecraft world to the extreme supernatural. And remember how I was talking about the air of mystery within the story? Well, that's slowly disappearing as we are starting to learn that, oh, he's within the real world too, and it's just eh. What made the story so creepy and off-putting in the first place was the weird plausibility to it, but having Herobrine be active within the Minecraft forums is so ridiculous and unnecessary that it just doesn't make sense. The story works much better in its super bare bones state, where it leaves more of what's going on up to the reader's imagination and makes it so that our brains can wander a bit more with the story. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say less is more. This doesn't really need to be in the story, it doesn't really add anything except for dulling down the scares in the first place. With this switch up from the tangible to the intangible, it just makes the scares before invalidated, as before we were able to feel a credibility to it that wasn't there before. I received an email from another forum user. He claimed that the mods could read the forum user's messages, so we were safe for using email. The emailer claimed that he had seen the mysterious player too and had a small directory of other users who had seen him as well. Their worlds were also littered with obviously man-made features, and they described the mysterious player as having no pupils. About a month passed until I heard from my informant again. Some of the people who had frequently encountered the mysterious man had looked into Herobrine and found it frequently used by a Swedish gamer. After some further information gathering, it was revealed to be the brother of Notch, the game's developer. I personally emailed Notch and asked him if he had a brother. It took him a while, but he emailed back a very short message. I did. But he is no longer with us. Signed, Notch. Okay, this part is extremely goofy. Like seriously, the story started off so well, but completely fell apart during the midsection. Like, what in the actual fuck is going on anymore? Like, they find out that the Herobrine account is for some reason being controlled by Notch's dead brother, so they decide to email him about it, and he responds, I guess, but you do you, this doesn't really make much sense. And then Notch's reply is just the icing on the cake for me. It's such a weird and inhuman way to respond. No one talks like that. It's just such a funny switch up and makes no sense whatsoever. It just really sucks because the first half is just legitimately interesting, and I think it would have been much more interesting if all of this had been left out. But let's finish this off. I haven't seen the mysterious man since our first encounter, and I haven't noticed any changes to the world other than my own. I was able to press print screen when I first saw him. Here's the only evidence of his existence. And that is the Herobrine story, which I have very mixed thoughts on, as it has an excellent start, but just completely falls apart by the end. While the idea is creepy, as is the photo that comes along with it, it just doesn't stick with what makes it interesting. If the story had stuck with the creepy world building that the first half had, the story might be that much more interesting, but because it left that world building, it just kind of falls flat onto its face. But now let's look at its influence. The influence this story had on creepypastas and Minecraft as a whole was unprecedented for the time. You couldn't go anywhere online without hearing about Herobrine for quite a while, and there were a couple of things that really boosted the popularity of the story. Firstly, there was the Brocraft stream by Copeland, where he would use paintings of Herobrine to create signs of him to scare his viewers and to cause the urban legend to spread. This would majorly boost his popularity, as many people were introduced to the character from this livestream. Although it was thought to be lost for the longest time, it has been recently found again. Then Minecraft themselves would super spread the story, as they began to add him into the patch logs that they removed Herobrine with almost every update, and adding him to things like merchandise as a nod to the community. This caused the story to spread like wildfire. Like for me personally, I remember watching this video called Who is Herobrine by Jemic, which introduced me personally to the subject and became ingrained within the culture of Minecraft. For example, a lot of the Minecraft music videos at the time would include Herobrine as a background monster, the main villain of the story that was being portrayed. And with the amount of mods that were coming out and are still coming out based on the character, is it any wonder just how popular this story got? I mean, just really think about it. The story was spread by the game itself, and Minecraft is quite literally the most popular game of all time. To think that the story would have been anything less than it is would be the understatement of the century. So then you may be asking, why is no one talking about it anymore? So you may be asking what happened to Herobrine, and it's what happened to a lot of these creepypastas over time. People just got so tired of hearing about them. When I say you couldn't go anywhere without knowing what Herobrine was, I truly mean it. But due to the overexposure, the story itself just wasn't scary anymore. Like every scary thing, the more exposure you have to it, the less scary it becomes. Herobrine is no exception to that rule. People just got bored of the story and found the ideas to no longer be interesting, and can you really blame them? I mean, just think about it. If something was shoved down your throats 24/7, would you still be scared of it after long? What makes something scary is the unknown surrounding it, but Herobrine is no longer unknown. Everyone knows just how the character works, and the mystery is completely gone. Thus, the influence the story once had is completely gone. And with all that being said, I would give this story a final score of 5 out of 10. And to end this out, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all next week.